Sitting next to me today is a 2021 Toyota Sienna LE front-wheel drive. And today I'm going to be bringing you a review of one of America's most popular minivans today. Alrighty, starting on the exterior of the Toyota Sienna and starting up front, I will say it definitely gets its looks from things like the Camry and the Avalon with these massive grill teeth they got going on there that looks like you just had your mouth stretched open by the dentist. And you also have the sharp headlight design that is classic for Toyotas. If you get a hybrid model Toyota, what they do is they put the standard Toyota badge on there as well and add a little blue tint around the lining of that badge just to show everyone that you are driving a hybrid. Now moving over to the side, you do get the 17-inch aluminum rims. The previous owner, in the 8,000 miles that they drove this car, ended up powder coating them black, which it's already peeling off, and personally I think the aluminum look fit the car just fine, but you know, to each their own. You also have power doors, which are openable by the door handle and by the key as well, which you just hold this button on whatever side you're trying to shut the door on, and the door will shut by itself. Now, it also has a kick sensor right here for the doors on the side as well, but I haven't been able to get it to work, so I don't know if you get a Sienna if it works for you. I just can't get it to open that way. And moving on to the back, you have more of those sharp designs for the taillights, just like you have up front for the headlights. And back here, you do not get a power lift gate on the LE model, but Toyota made sure that they put the button there to remind you that you could have gotten that option. Now, back here, you can see that the third row is laid flat right now, and you also have these flaps back here to make the load floor a little more flat and flush for larger objects. But to fold these seats up, all you do is basically pull on the handle and push it forward, and it goes right into place. And just like that in reverse, all you do have to do is lift it, fold it back, and push down, and they will fold back down. And on the screen right now, I'm going to pop up the cargo capacities for the rear of the Sienna. Now moving on to this side, there's not much different at all. In matter of fact, it's actually the exact same as the other side. Again, this is a minivan. There's nothing exciting about the exterior of this, and it's not supposed to be exciting. I'm going to go over some of the safety features on the interior, and when we're driving the thing, it does have BLIS, adaptive cruise control, and LTA, lane keep assist, lane centering, and basically can control itself on the highway by itself. But yeah, that's about it for the exterior of the Sienna. Let's move on to the inside. Alrighty, moving on to the interior of the Sienna. Let's start it up real quick. Since this is a hybrid electric powertrain, it starts with its hybrid part of the engine, and then the longer it runs, it will turn on the gas motor, especially if you have the AC cranked high on a hot day like today. Now, starting in front of me, since this is a hybrid model, you don't get a tachometer. You more get this little dial that shows your fuel economy and how much power you're using, and whether you're using the battery a lot, the engine a lot, or if the battery is charging. It basically goes in between these three things. It's kind of like a fuel economy meter, but an actual gauge, and on the other side you have your tachometer. Now in the center you have this screen that basically shows your cruise control settings, your lane keeping assist settings. It will show you your fuel economy, your speed. It'll show you your radio and what you're listening to. It allows you to turn off driver assistance features. Like I said, this is blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane centering assist, and adaptive cruise control. But that's basically it for the gauge cluster. On the steering wheel, you have all your controls as well. You're able to control the media from the steering wheel. You're able to control your cruise control settings from the steering wheel. I know Toyota at one point was doing the stock that sat off the side of the steering wheel. Personally, the buttons on here make a lot more sense. And that's basically it for the steering wheel. Again, most of the technology in here, though advanced, is pretty standard for a minivan of this year. Now moving on to the center, you have Toyota's infotainment system. Now it kind of seems like it's been recently updated, because this is a lot better than when I drove the RAV4. I do like this system a lot better, and honestly it's not that hard to use. I still prefer other infotainment systems over this one, but honestly it's pretty easy to use, and it is pretty responsive to when you make an input. And then you have all your buttons on the side that take you home, whether you want to go to the menu, whether you want to see your audio settings, or your map. But since you don't have the navigation app, which is upgraded in the LE package or LE package plus, you don't get the navigation system. Now standard, this comes with dual zone climate control up front and a single zone in the back for everyone else. Now what's crazy is this is about $35,000 brand new, and it comes with a bunch of standard safety features, and like I said, blind spot assist, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control are all standard options on this minivan. It is crazy to me that other automakers aren't adding those features as standard. Now, I get it, they're standard because this is a minivan and it's supposed to carry your family around and you want to be safe. It just baffles me. For $35,000, you can have all of those things as standard. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the amount of storage space up here, which is absolutely insane. You get a really, really deep center console right here that I can stick all the way down to my hand, all the way up to my elbow. Now, on top of having all that space up here, you do get 8 cup holders here, 2 on each doors and then 4 in the center control stack right here. As for other storage space, if you look down here, you get a bunch of storage space down here as well. We actually fit the drone box down here, and on top of that, you do get a 12-volt socket down here as well. For other power points up here, you get a USB Type-A socket right there, and if you open the center console again, you get a USB Type-A and a USB Type-C. So the front has got a bunch of features. Now over here, you have some more buttons as well. You have a power door off button over here, which disables the power doors, sliding doors. I believe the thought behind that is you don't want your young kid opening the door and the door is heavy enough where they wouldn't be able to open it themselves. Let's say you're parked on the side of the street, heavy traffic is flying by. You don't really want them to be able to open the door and get out by themselves. You want to be on that side to assist them from getting out. So in that case, you would turn the power doors off to protect your children. As for other materials and stuff up here, you do get some soft touch materials, especially in the armrest and on the door area, but then you move up to the dash and it is kind of scratchy plastic. And then you kind of have this nice wood-looking trim piece going around the front of the vehicle, which honestly, I really like. The interior of this, even though it is an LE, which is a base model Sienna, it does have some nice materials and nice looks on the inside of this vehicle up in the front. Now, since this is a hybrid electric powertrain, you can go into an EV mode at certain speeds. If you go over a certain speed, the gas engine will kick in, but at lower speeds, if you're just in bumper-to-bumper traffic or you're only going down the street, you can turn on EV mode, and that will allow the car to run just on its battery and save you fuel. You also have auto hold, and something I do really like in this is the second you put this car in park, the parking brake turns on, which is nice. Usually you would turn on your parking brake when you're parked that way, just in case the transmission decides to let go. Your parking brake would hold you in place, and it's to save the strain from being on your transmission. But up here, other than there being absolutely tons of storage space up here and it being super practical, super technologically advanced for its price, there's not much else. Again, it is a minivan. It's not supposed to have tons of crazy sporty features in it, just practicality. And we can go ahead and move on to the back. Now, moving on to the rear seats of this vehicle, I will say, starting, you have plenty of leg room back here. And if you ever do want to close your power doors from the inside, you just press this little power door button right here and it will shut the door for you. You also have back seat pockets right here if you want to store anything. And as for power points, you have a USB Type-A right here and a USB Type-C right there. So no issues. On top of that, you have 2 cup holders that rest under this middle part right here. I'm not going to attempt to put this seat down and take it out because it is a pain, but you do have little straps with numbers on them that tell you how to take the seat out. Maybe I'll throw up some B-roll that shows me taking the seat out. But you have 2 cup holders under this, 1 cup holder in each door, and then 2 down here, which gives you a total of 6 cup holders in the second row alone. So you have 8 up there and you have 6 back here, which make it so you're already at 14 cup holders inside of the Toyota Sienna. Honestly, that's crazy. 8 people, 14 cup holders. We're not even onto the third row yet. But back here, you do have sunshades. Again, this is as standard on this vehicle. You do have some cheaper materials back here, but if you're carrying kids back here, who cares? You don't want them getting leather or anything like that, or vinyl dirty. So the plastic back here definitely makes sense if you have children. Easy to clean off, and these cloth seats are decently comfortable. Now, like I said before, the second row has this removable seat in the center. So you can make this captain's chairs if you want, so you still have armrests for each of the seats right here. Now, what if you want to get into the back? Well, Toyota's got you covered on that. All you basically do is pull this lever to fold this part of the seat forward. It folds this forward as well, and you have a lever on the side that you pull, and you can pull these 2 forward. That is not supposed to come off. You also have your AC controls for the back seats on the roof of the vehicle as well. Now let's go ahead and fold these seats up back here. This is the wrong way to do this, by the way. You should not fold the seats up from the back. Okay. All right, now sitting in the third row of this vehicle, I've sat in here before in the third row and I had plenty of legroom. You're a little bit scrunched, you only get about an inch of legroom back here, but you do have 3 more cup holders back here, leading to a total cup holder count of 17 cup holders, over double the amount of passengers this vehicle can carry, which is absolutely insane to me. But as you see, when all the seats are folded forward, you have tons of room back here to fit anything you need. Let's say you're moving cross country, you could fit definitely a bunch of boxes in here as long as you aren't carrying any kids. On top of that, for power points back here, you have a USB Type A and a USB Type C port, so kids back here won't have any problem charging their iPad, so they will shut up while you're driving. And just in case you're worried about your kids getting food everywhere, these floor mats are removable for you to clean, and they are very light carpet that's very thin, so you would be very easy to vacuum out. No one is crushing chicken nuggets into the carpets back here or anything like that. The interior of the Toyota Sienna is super practical, so if you're looking for a practical vehicle to carry around a bunch of people, this would definitely be the vehicle to do it in. Alrighty, so driving the Toyota Sienna. Honestly, for a minivan that only costs $35,000, I feel like this thing is pretty secluded from the outside and you're not getting a ton of road noise, so you won't have to worry about waking your kids up. And it's actually pretty easy to drive for how big the vehicle is. The steering is extremely light, and though it is a minivan with a hybrid electric powertrain, even in eco mode, I feel like it gets plenty of power down to the wheels and to the road, and you get going pretty quickly. Now, it's no sports car, so you're not going to get any thrilling experience out of this thing. So if you're looking for a fast family vehicle, this is definitely not the vehicle for you, and you should maybe look into SUVs that don't have a hybrid electric powertrain. But other than that, I will say the Sienna is decently easy to drive with a good amount of power, making 245 horsepower. When you combine the electric powertrain and the gas engine together, you're perfectly fine. Now we're going to pull onto the highway and see how this adaptive cruise control works in conjointment with a driver and the lane keeping assist. But for right now, being on these normal roads, it's just a minivan. Onto the highway. Blind spot monitoring system definitely helps a lot with that. Takes the stress out of trying to look behind you while you have screaming children and babies in the backseat. Again, the road still sounds pretty secluded off from the interior of the car, and it goes over bumps pretty well. It's not like driving a sports car that has 2 inches of ground clearance. You do have a pretty stable and soft ride. Honestly, very easy to control. Steering is still light even on the highways, but still direct. Now on the highway right now, we'll test the adaptive cruise control function out. You just press this button, press set, and it's set at 65 miles per hour because that is the speed limit, and the people who drive these vehicles are probably not looking to speed down the highway. But you have 3 stages for adaptive cruise control, which basically allows your vehicle to determine how far you're away from the car in front of you and change its speed varied on that. But we'll turn it down to number 1, that way we can get our max speed without being too scared of the car in front of us. But it just drives like a normal minivan. Nothing crazy about it. You have plenty of visibility out of this thing. The windows in the rear and in the front are absolutely massive. Easy to drive. So I think overall, if you're looking to get a minivan that has a bunch of features in it, a bunch of safety equipment that you can use without having to pay extra for it, the Toyota Sienna should definitely be on your list of vehicles to purchase. Now, like I said, this has lane centering as well, so you can just take your hand off the wheel, unlike a responsible adult, and it will steer you back in the lane and keep you pretty well in lane until the lines fade on the road and it can't tell where you are anymore. Definitely not as advanced as like Porsche's or Ford's lane keeping assist system, but that's fine. You shouldn't be taking your hands off the steering wheel anyways in this kind of situation, so we can just go ahead and turn that off. But yeah, if you're looking for an easy to drive minivan with a bunch of practicality, this should definitely be on your list of options. And that is the 2021 Toyota Sienna LE. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more from us, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.